I'm a gay man, and I have been gay for as long as I can remember. And I grew up in a country absolutely and utterly hostile to the idea that a man could love another man. So much so that I didn't even know there were other gay people. I wasn't the only gay in the village. I was the only gay in the country as far as I was concerned. So hostile was Ireland to gay people that in 1988 I was arrested. I was lured into a car by a guard doing his job. And I know how terrified I was. I can remember exactly what it felt like to believe that I now needed to commit suicide because of where I lived and the laws under which I lived. That was discrimination. That was homophobia. That was a galaxy far, far away. Ireland is not now that country. We live in one of the finest countries in the world in which to be gay. The law changed, attitudes changed. 2 years ago, I got involved almost accidentally in this debate, and I discovered the full tolerance of liberal Ireland. Does anybody have Paddy Manning's address? So that we can strangle him. Paddy Manning should be shot. Or that most homophobic of memes, Paddy Manning is a self-hating gay man. And I get that almost daily, the self-hating gay man. And remember where that comes from. That's a psychiatric idea from the 1930s. It's a view that gay men were so disgusting, they must disgust themselves. Can you imagine having that repeated at you by LGBT activists who claim they're for tolerance? Or people with Jesuit Charlie avatars on their social media accounts saying Paddy Manning should be shut up or shot. They don't seem to have any idea that free speech is something vital to defend. Why is it that it's words like compassion that are always perverted in the service of bad causes? This referendum is not about compassion for gay people. What happened to me? That arrest, that terror, that belief that my only solution was suicide. You can't take that back with the vote. You can't change history. History happened. Ireland's a different place now. By voting yes, in the idea, the mistaken idea, that you're showing me compassion, all you're doing is depriving children of rights. You're not doing anything for me. You're really not doing anything for any gay person. In 2010, Ireland introduced civil partnership legislation, which allowed gay people for the first time to give legal effect to their relationship. That meant your partner could become your next of kin. He or she was recognized in law as your legal partner for all sorts of rights. I had long been an advocate of this. And civil partnership, if allowed to develop properly, if allowed to be changed by law to change any problems people have with it, could have become a real gay institution. Because there's one question nobody's asking about this. Does marriage suit gay people? Is the institution of marriage, which has been 20,000 years evolving to suit heterosexual relationships, the ideal place into plank gay people? I believe it's not. And I believe there's a very good reason why many people go for marriage. They feel all liberal. They like gay people. We're nice. We're cuddly. But couldn't we just be the same as straight people? There's this notion, as Mary Macaulay so inadvertently, I'm sure, put it, that our relationships must be normalised. Well, I'm sorry, Mary. I'm normal for me and so are my relationships. So we don't need to be turned into little simulacrums of straight people by giving us marriage. We need to be allowed to be different because we are. And this notion that difference and diversity should be eliminated and we should all look the same is profoundly wrong. It is as wrong for liberals as it was wrong for the old version of Ireland to enforce on me. If we pass this referendum, it first of all changes our constitution, the fundamental part of our law. That will change all subsequent law. Everything downstream then has to conform to that. And what we're doing is cutting the link between biology and law. We're saying gender does not matter. Children are now not really part of marriage anymore. But worse than that, that automatically means that we've now recognized that a child, because the primacy of marriage is still in the Constitution, a child can now be deprived of contact with a parent. A child can be deprived of contact with a mother or a father, because there will always, remember, there will always be a mother or a father outside of the relationship. You have the beautiful example of Britain, where the two poster boys for gay marriage in Britain have excluded their twin daughter's mother from the daughters' lives. Just think about that for a second. Two young girls growing up, but not allowed any contact with their mother. Now, we're told this has all been dealt with in the Family and Relationships Bill. In actual fact, the Family and Relationships Bill is, first of all, dubiously constitutional unless we pass this referendum. After that, nothing in it can be challenged. Parents die. Parents leave. People don't stay together. That's tragic. And there are single parents in this country doing a magnificent job, and it's really hard. Even the logistical nightmare of getting kids in and out to school and trying to work at the same time, when you only have the one of you to do it, is really difficult. And those people are wonderful. But we ought not to put the accidental and the tragic at the heart of family law. And those single parents, they gain nothing from this. The largest group of same-sex couples rearing children in this country are a grandmother, her daughter, raising the daughter's children. What do they gain? Are they not in some way legitimate? Do they not love? Of course they do. But marriage is not about just love. It is about child outcomes. It is about the children that come out of that. Make no mistake. Do not listen to politicians who are allergic to truth anyway. That surrogacy is not part of this. Surrogacy is central. And by voting for this, what you're doing is making sure that when surrogacy regulations are challenged, the Supreme Court will look at the Constitution and say, the electorate voted for surrogacy in effect. The electorate voted to allow gay men to marry. The electorate voted for same-sex couples who could possibly never, who could not have children any other way. And the electorate knew this. You know this. And if you believe, as I do, that surrogacy is wrong, that it is demeaning, that renting women in third world countries just because you're wealthy enough to do it ought not to occur, you have no choice, no matter how compassionate you feel, no matter what sort of equality warrior you want to be, you have no choice but vote against this referendum. It is a terribly sad thing that politicians want to convince gay people that it's about their lives. It's not, because fundamentally, the legal change we're proposing doesn't give anything to gay people. We already have the right to give our love legal force. What this does is it creates a different institution, a one-size-fits-all marriage that takes children and makes them a commodity, that potentially deprives children of mothers and fathers. People who are on the fence in this referendum, who still haven't made up their mind, are being told over and over again that if they vote no, they're bigots. As a gay man, I want to reassure those people that you are no bigot for voting no. In fact, the bigotry is to vote yes, because it's an unthinking vote. It's a vote that accepts everything that our politicians tell you. You don't believe the politicians about the banks. You don't believe the politicians about Irish water. You don't believe the politicians about anything. Why would you believe unanimous politicians about this? It doesn't make any sense. In that ballot box, in that polling station, for very good reason, it's private. It is you and the vote, you and the law. Nobody else. No bigots looking over your shoulder. Nobody telling you you're a homophobe. You vote to protect children. You vote to keep children the right to have their mother and father in their lives.